Welcome to Technical Leadership Talks, the podcast that brings you advice, insights, and knowledge from industry leaders and experts on how to navigate managing in the technical field. Technical Leadership Talks is brought to you by Texas A&M University's Master of Engineering Technical Management, an online graduate program that trains industry professionals for leadership positions. I'm Katie, METM's digital marketer and your host for this episode. In today's episode, I am talking to Julianne Sanscartier. She currently works as an Engineer 3 at Los Alamos National Laboratory and graduated with her METM degree in 2024. Today, we discuss moving into management at a young age, her leadership style, and the skills she took away from the METM program. How did you end up in this line of work?
So I actually kind of fell into it. I graduated college in May of 2020. And the only place that was not undergoing a hiring freeze that I actually wanted to work for was Los Alamos National Laboratory. I interviewed with them my junior year of college. I did my junior year internship with them, and I really enjoyed it. I wasn't really sure how I felt about working in the government sector. So the circumstances kind of pushed me into it, and I overcame those reservations because I needed a job and I didn't want to go back to school just yet. I was 21 and I wanted to get the hell out of university. So I started working there, and it's actually been a lot of fun. It's been a really good learning experience for me.
What made you want to pursue your METM degree then? So what made you want to go back to school?
I knew I wanted a master's degree, and kind of like any financially savvy 20-something-year-old that when I say financially savvy, I mean broke. I did not want to pay for my master's degree. Los Alamos National Laboratory has this absolutely wonderful program where they work with you to reimburse you for the METM degree. And because that was pretty readily available, and I knew that I wanted an engineering degree, but I didn't really want a straight mechanical engineering master's because I found that it doesn't really teach you anything extra that I thought would be applicable to my job. I think we can all kind of, especially in the engineering world, you'll take your classes and then you'll go to a job and you'll be like, I haven't used a day of calculus in my life. And since I graduated, and I didn't really want more of that in a master's. And then I didn't want a straight MBA because everybody and their mom has an MBA. So I really liked what the METM program had to offer in terms of it's kind of this mishmash and amalgam of technical management, which is what you want from an MBA, but it's also geared towards engineering. And I knew I wanted to be an engineering manager in my career one day. So it was a really good fit for what I wanted for my career goals.
Do you feel like you have, since graduating and even just starting the program and taking classes as you went, been able to use some of the skills you learned in METM at your job?
I definitely have. The METM program teaches you a lot of really good soft skills. It teaches you how to get people on your team to want what you want. And it sounds like, I think at first glance, it's like, oh, you're manipulating your employees into wanting what you want to do. And it's like, at the same time, nobody wants to work on a team where they're like, I hate it here and I don't want to do anything this team wants to do. You want to work on a team where you're like, yeah, I love my manager and I at least want what they want. And I would like to help them further their goals, because our goals at the end of the day is we all work for the company. So we might as well, enjoy what we're doing and want what we're wanting to do. Those soft skills, especially, and I've taken this with me since my coaching class in the first week of the program, listening to understand and not to respond was a huge one for me, because even my friends were like, you listen, but I don't feel like you're hearing anything. And so I really worked on listening to what people are saying so that I can understand what they're saying to me, not just so I can formulate a response and have the conversation be over.
You were one of the younger students in the program. Have you faced any challenges in gaining leadership credibility early in your career, as well as in the program, since you were one of the younger ones?
This program is for people who want to become managers, even though a lot of it is geared towards people who have been managers previously. It is for people who want to be better managers or have never been managers. So I felt that it was still applicable. There were a couple of times where it was like, name a time that you were a leadership, blah, blah, blah. And I didn't have an answer because I had never been. But it was really easy to work with the professors and be like, I haven't done this. Help.
So at your current job, are you also one of the younger ones, or at this point you're kind of the mid range?
I would say I think I'm still one of the younger ones in my band. So I recently in October got promoted to an Engineer 3. And in that role, I'm definitely one of the younger ones. I would say that the average age for that is probably 30. It's honestly a lot of realizing that those people know about as much as you do.
Yeah.
And knowing who knows more than you and knowing when to ask questions. And I think as long as you know that asking questions does not make you look stupid, it makes you look smarter, because it means you won't make those mistakes even if you think the question is stupid. It's just a really big, like, you need to be able to ask questions. And I think that's a pitfall that a lot of the older, I don't want to say all the male engineers, but I work in a mostly male field. So I will say the older male engineers fall into that pit a lot, because they'll be like, oh, I can't ask questions. I can't show weakness. I have to know everything. And then somebody will be like, you made this huge mistake. Why didn't you just ask somebody who knew what they were doing? And they'll be like, well, I didn't want to, or I didn't want to stop and ask for directions. So it's one of those things where you have to be able to reach out for help and know who to talk to.
So how did your network of peers in the program impact your learning experience, like being with other people from LANL and also from other companies and organizations?
It was really good to get the outside perspective, because I think when you've only worked in the government field, you can kind of have blinders on about what industry is like, and you tend to forget, oh, this is what it's like to work for a for-profit organization. That's crazy. So getting that input from others was kind of really interesting, and seeing how they tackled different assignments that we had and different situations that we had versus how the government side does it. One of the most interesting examples I have of that is during the hot seat exercises. There was a fire alarm one. You had to recognize that in a building where the fire alarm had been tested, like, that you needed to end the scenario and be like, we need to leave the building.
Yeah.
And the only one I think who got it was our facilities operations director engineer, George. And he was the only one that recognized it and was like, we need to go. And everybody else was just like, that's so weird. Anyway, what a weird fire alarm sound. Moving on. And so it was kind of cool to see that institutional awareness from our side, where we complain a lot that we have a lot of red tape, but it does kind of it gives you like a safety forward focus, and a lot of things that maybe the for-profit side of the industry doesn't have as much of. I guess I've roundaboutly good different opinions. Nice to see what my side of the network kind of has to offer in terms of different skill sets, and what the industry side has to offer.
So what part of the METM experience did you learn from the most? Was it a class, residency week, the cohort? What stood out to you the most?
It was definitely residency week where I had the most, that probably had the most impact. And I think you probably hear that a lot. Residency week is a punch in the gut. It is.
Yeah.
It is a crazy time, and it is where it's a crucible. You learn so much that week. You learn to love every single person you're with. So it teaches you a lot of really, really good skills. And, but probably the second best part was the, coaching, that we had our first semester. That was super, super helpful. For me, it was a really useful experience. And it kind of opened my eyes to a couple of different things about myself, and also about how I interact with others, that have helped me improve, as a team member and as a team lead.
Okay, last question. What motivates you, and why do you do what you do?
I've written like essays and stuff about this, but it is still true. My mom is really what motivates me. She was one of the youngest female executives at Sony Electronics. She just retired, actually. So congrats to mom. 35 years in the business. Go her. But she was the senior VP for credit and accounts receivable for all of Sony North America for like 20 years.
Yeah.
I think. I'm sure I'm butchering all of these numbers because she's not in the room with me. I'm just going to make them bigger than they actually are. But she was a really great source of inspiration for me, and still is, because she truly kicked butt her entire career. And she did it as a woman in a field where women weren't really executives yet. She did it back in the like early 90s, when people are still like, who is this tiny 5'2" woman in a pencil skirt? And why is she telling me what to do when I have, 20 more years of experience in this field than she does? And she just showed them that she knew what she was freaking doing, and kept kicking their butts halfway around the block. So I take a lot of inspiration from her, and that's probably why I keep pushing to do like management and keep moving forward in my field, even though it's heavily male dominated. And it doesn't really bother me, because I've seen it done before, and I've seen it done exceedingly well.
Thank you for listening in to today's episode. Tech Leadership Talks is brought to you by Texas A&M University's Master of Engineering Technical Management. To learn more, visit metm.tamu.edu.